がきっとこの夕焼けを思い返す日が来るよ。きっとね。
What is going on, everybody? It's Jay, aka it's A3 Story here, back with another Phantom Parade showcase video. This time the final showcase video for, I guess you could say, Tower on Summer Gojo, and this is the A3 variant. Now, I will say, in typical fashion, when you go from A0, A1 to A3, there's definitely going to be visible improvements, and the visible improvement comes from A3 Gojo's SP. So if you're wondering what his SP is, it is called Special Lecture. It's a passive skill. So when battle starts, Gojo applies a handful of yellow effects, which is 30% stat buffing and 30% damage dealt increase to allies. And this effect kind of just stays, right? So you start fights with a 30% stat buff and a 30% damage dealt increase just flat out, which is absolutely broken because, mind you, damage dealt and stat buffing are 2 out of the 3 factors for the damage formula of the game. This unit at A3 spawns in with just 2 of them activated off the rip. And you will see, just from this floor 84 clear, just how much of a difference that makes, because if you've been watching the A1 and A0 showcases, you'll be able to note just how distinct each run is, because we go from not breaking the boss, in the first additional action status, to ripping through the boss's break bar immediately on the first additional action status with Zone G. And obviously we still get the benefits of his A1 SP, which gives us that increased ult gauge after we use ult, and also that extra cursed energy. So we just have stat buffing galore. We have CE galore. Basically, borderline unstoppable when it comes to this unit. It's kind of ridiculous what A3 can do for a guy like this. But even when I glaze it to the high heavens, is it a necessity? Of course not. This is like a pay-to-win paradise, right? A pay-to-win paradise. That is the best way I can put it. Gojo's already stat buffing and, popping damage dealt buffs for us, so I'm already confident enough that I don't need to self buff with Yuji. I can just keep powering through with skill 3 and just chunk through the boss's health bar, because I don't have to worry about that additional self buffing. And then right here, I don't immediately pop skill 2 to give myself ult gauge, because I want to keep those buffs up all the way as I fire out this ultimate, since the boss is broken. And then we're at turn 7. I mean, spoiler alert, there's only 3 more turns in this floor 84 clear, and it makes me so happy, because I love dunking on this boss. 15 mil. I'm pretty sure in the A1 clear, it was 11, so all in all, pretty nice. And I also just skipped self-buffing Yuji. So this is just, we got all Gojo action right here. And then I'm pretty sure right here alone, we almost break the boss, from full, with just 1 additional action test. Let's see. Oh yeah, we almost break the boss off of 1 additional action test. Just a couple more black flashes and it would have just been a full break. But Yaga gets stunned in the process, which initially worried me, but it didn't matter, because these 2 are going to co-op ult Gojo and Shoko, and that is just going to be enough to fill up Yaga's ultimate gauge anyway, so we'll be able to finish off the fight with a combo on turn 10. Because Yuji will also get the benefit of the combo ult, and obviously he's going to be the one that breaks the boss, so he's going to get that initial burst of ult gauge from the break, and he's going to black flash, so he's going to proc the passive on his Rector. All of that, it comes together, and it gives us an excellent 10-turn clear. I believe in a 9-turn. Trust me, I believe there's a 9-turn somewhere in this world. It'll happen one day. Somebody will be crazy enough to deal with the RNG. And just like that, it feels so crazy that like the first time I've ever cleared this floor, I'm pretty sure it took all 30 turns, and like here we are like 5-6 months later, and I'm doing it in 10. It's kind of crazy how the power gap is jumping in this game. But we're gonna dive into the floor 90 clear next, because y'all know how much I love floor 90. So we're gonna show off the stats real quick. Pretty nice 100 million stat from Yuji, but let's jump into 90. We got a 14 turn clear. Now, this one in specific, again, I still fall under the issue of not targeting Mahito with Shoko. There was a extra clear I did off camera, and I was talking about in the Discord server where I did almost get 13 turns, but I already like racked my brain trying to get like the RNG with like Yuta hitting crits and Yaga hitting crits, and like we'll go even further, Yuta hitting crits, because my god, Yuta was hurting me physically throughout these showcases, because man, he didn't like critting outside of ult. He also didn't like critting during his ult, and that hurt me so much, because I'm like, dude, you are selling me right now. And originally I did want to get like a faster clear for y'all, but as I'm recording this, like, I go back to work today, but like as you're seeing the video, I'm most likely already at work as we're speaking. So I wish I had like more free time so I can like hash out better clears, but like at some point it becomes like a mixed bag. It's like, all right, like I can go for better clears, sacrifice sleep, or I could do the best I can with the time I have, and then we can work on something later together. So I'm kind of selling on like, all right, 14 turns is okay in my opinion. 13 would have been better. 12 would have been more optimal, but we'll work there together. Even though I hate floor 90, one day. It kind of leads to my thoughts of like, wouldn't it be kind of crazy if this YouTube thing ever became a full-time gig? But that's wishful thinking. But outside of that, it's the same clear as the A0 and A1 clears. There's really no crazy difference whatsoever. It's the same game plan. Jogo must die, then Hanami must get targeted, and then Mahito will just end up dying in the process. That's really it. Whenever I do a main DPS clear, and the ultimate is an AoE base, aka we aren't using Team Joe, it's always target Jogo first. Those dots are so bad. So we want to get rid of Jogo as quickly as possible. And by as quickly as possible, I say turn 6 is a very comfortable spot to where like Jogo takes his last stand. I believe turn 6 or turn 7, I don't remember. But you want to get him out as early as possible, because at some point you'll be doing so much damage to Jogo, he will proc like his boss passive, where like he immediately filled up his ultimate gauge after he loses like over 50% of his HP pool. So you don't want to eat a Jogo, Mahito, and Hanami all at the exact same time, because that's just instant death. Unless like you're bringing Urame and you just happen to get that frostbite, but that's besides the point. I always target Jogo whenever I use single target teams. On other instances, I did try to target Hanami at the start and then transition over to Jogo after I fully built up. However, I do just find like the initially just targeting Jogo at the start and then transitioning over to Hanami to be more comfortable for me. Yeah, like right here, like we're gonna rely on Yaga trying to break Jogo, which he is successful in. That's my goat. And then we go over to Hanami, and then similar to how we just treat Mahito for the rest of the run, at some point Jogo's just gonna fall over, and we can accept that. And that's also just the same thing to what happens to Mahito. At some point, he's just gonna fall over. Another thing about this run is I feel like we're just losing a ton of health, or I guess I was like pretty insecure about like my health bar, so I think I ended up like over healing in spots to kind of just like, I guess, compensate for like a, I guess a HP pool per turn base. I don't even really know how to explain it. Basically, I just wanted to have like as much health as possible per turn, and like I just ended up prioritizing healing the team over just like buffing alongside Shoko, so that probably put like a nosedive into our damage stat, which also pushed us closer to a 14 turn clear. Which is why I say I don't like floor 90, because they're just so like, it's one thing where you have to deal with the factors of 3 bosses at the exact same time, but you also just have to deal with the factors of your units, because you have to deal with like Yuta and him critting, and like, you know, depending on how low somebody on the team's health gets, like Yuta will heal them with RCT, and if he doesn't crit, you'll run out of curse energy to use some skills. And if Yaga doesn't crit, you won't be able to co-op ult at a certain time. And, you know, for example, if Shoko gets her health too low and you'd already healed, you won't be able to heal her. And if the other members of the team don't have low enough health, then Shoko won't heal the whole team, so she'll just have low health for a turn. Like, there's so much to think about when it comes to this floor. It's kind of why I just don't like doing it, because it's just a lot of factors that are just generally out of your control, and it's like, okay, I just gotta let it go up to fate at some point. Your boy doesn't like that. Your boy doesn't like that. I like steamrolling things with ease. I'm sorry, guys. When I play my games, I put on the training wheels. Yeah, we're already approaching that close to the clear area, and again, I should have aimed for Mahito with the combo ult. But I also did another clear, right? And it was also 14 turns. And I also aimed like my combo ult at Mahito. And again, Yuta also just didn't like critting during that run in specific. I'm pretty sure like the end ult stat, like the highest ult Yuta hit in this run was like 21 mil. I'm not sure if it was this run or the previous run for the A1 video. But like, again, Yuta's damage highly fluctuates depending on how much he wants to crit, because obviously his critical enhancement passive does correlate to how much damage he's going to be doing. I mean, alongside the fact that him hitting crits is going to proc Cursed Spirit School group, and if he doesn't proc that, then we're going to get slower combo ults, unless like he gets completely bullied by, you know, the disaster curses. But we're fine here because we got a nasty crit, and we already had a high enough ult gauge. And, you know, for some reason, in comparison to like the A0 video, Mahito did not exactly care for Gojo during the A3 run. Mahito learned his lesson, that's the best way I'll put it. That's a nice old crit. Listen, I'm just going to tell the devs this. If there's any Phantom Parade devs that watch my videos, can we please stop making the critical enhancement passives go up so high? Like, come on now. I'm pretty sure, like, hold on. Because you know what? I have Phantom Parade open whenever I'm doing these, like, post-commentary areas. I'm pretty sure Yuta's goes up to, let's see, how many turns? Yeah, it goes up to 8. Come on now. I've had enough. Did this with Kusakabe, now we're doing this with Yuta. It hurts my feelings. And then this also surprised me for the clear. I thought we were going to take 1 turn longer, but I was like, you know what? 14 is fine. I want to do faster, but I'm okay with 14. So yeah, we're going to transition over to the final A3 unit review. Maybe one day we'll do another faster S clear, and just see how that goes. We'll just see how that goes. But yeah, 21 mil for this one. But yeah, the ultimate damage fluctuates. It really does. You got to hit those crits, man, on Yuta. But we're not talking about Yuta. We're talking about Gojo. Let's go to the A3 final unit review. Final A3 unit review. What else can I really say about this unit that I haven't really said across all the other showcases? This unit is him, all right? But in any case, it's going to be very similar to Aloha Yuji, where it's like they're overkill at A3. Like, these SP buffs were definitely made to bring out the whales more than it was to be a necessity. Like, whales that want to have like a super ultra power fantasy is going to get the most out of these units, but by no means does the average player need these SPs. These SPs transform these characters into complete overkill machines, and that also just applies straight up to Gojo. I feel like A0 and Gojo is also easier to get away with because again, he's a support unit. You're primarily going to be just be using your support based skills, because even though you have skill 1 which boosts your crit rate, I mean, it's also important to have that damage dealt skill put into it, but his ultimate already encompasses that part of the damage formula, so you're going to just keep doing alt loops over prioritizing hitting skill 1, right? This unit is fine at A0, being a support unit. Gojo doesn't really capitalize off of the initial 25% plus stats as like the regular DPS unit would, because he's a support. And obviously, his ultimate SP is a nice little extra, right? It makes it easier for you to continue to keep him in the fight because he gives himself that ult gauge. He also gives +5 CE to the team. So your team is constantly munching on cursed energy to the point where it's like, Kaido, who? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy. And his A3 passive is just super duper overkill. Like, you're spawning in with all these buffs. You don't need it to dominate content. I mean, even if we're talking about the hardest stage in the game, which is floor 90, which other players in the community are completely trivializing it at this point, I mean, you can clear it with all current standard units, considering the fact that Shoko has now been added to standard banner because, you know, obviously that new standard update came out. So now we have yellow Shoko where you could make her A5 for all your security measures, right? Because when floor 90 was first cleared, right, everybody was using basically a setup of standard units or just one future pending standard unit, right? So Shoko, Junpei, Yaga, Tinja. So he's not a necessity. Is he like low-key the GOAT for yellow? Of course. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if there's anybody in the anniversary that I feel like should be aiming to pull more than not, I feel like Gojo is in that upper echelon, and I also believe when we get to Summer Megami, I'll probably add him to that list as well. But yeah, Gojo. How do I feel about him in total? A0, phenomenal. A1, a little bit overkill, but it's passable. And an A3 is ultra overkill. So that's my sentiment. For Gojo, that's my sentiment. For Yuji, I mean, A1 was valid, A3 is overkill. But that's it for me, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord server in the channel bio. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. So if you enjoyed today's video and you maybe want to check out more Phantom Parade content in the future, sub up, all right? It's been Jay, aka It's Aloha Story, and I will see you guys later.